And the way to become great over time is just starting in the first place. What's going on? You're listening to episode 14 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This podcast is about helping you develop your mind, build a creative brand, and grow an audience. And I want to kind of just take you on a weekly journey to show you that it is possible to build a creative career of doing the things that you love the most. Okay, I want to show it's possible. That's what I'm doing right now, and I want to share and teach you what I learned along the way. You know, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. You know, I may come back and change my mind, but damn it, I'm trying. I am working hard to make this possible. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Today's episode, I'm going to keep it as quick as possible. There's a lot of things going on right now in my life, and it's kind of tough to try and balance everything, but I love the podcast, so I'm always going to make time for this because I feel it's not only helping me, but it's hopefully helping someone on the other end of this. So maybe it's helping you. But I am a huge audio junkie. I found that I learn the best through audio formats, whether it be podcast or Audible books. And I want to share, you know, the top 3 podcasts that are, I would say, benefiting me the most in this season of my creative career. And I have a feeling if I asked you if you'd be interested in some kind of free resource that's going to elevate your creative brand, I think without hesitation, you'd be like, yes, of course, Scotty, I'm not an idiot, so give me the good stuff. And that's what I want to do. I want to give you the good stuff. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, but right now my focus has been on these 3. And a little backstory of how I got into podcast was about 2 years ago, my wife, Emily, she's awesome. She turned me on to the podcast app, which came with our iPhones at the time. Music was my life, and I thought podcasts were something only that snobby, sophisticated nerds who had no life listened to. And I was a bit narrow-minded at the time, obviously, and I really got into them because my art started gaining some attention through Instagram, and it started letting me know, like, hey, you know, you actually could maybe do something with your creativity, you know, a thought that I never had my entire life. This created a very strong desire to pursue my work more intentionally, and I wanted to start building my brand, which led to this new addiction of podcasts once I saw the value they were adding to my life. And these days, you can catch me filling pretty much every gap of my day with either a podcast or an audiobook. It's an opportunity for me to learn something new every day while I'm at my job, my day job, whether I'm showering, driving, you know, doing yard work, etc. You know, I have the opportunity to learn something, and that's why I love podcasts. And it's been monumental for my confidence and growth, and I know for a fact it's going to help you too. So with that being said, and with me continue to ramble, I want to share my current top 3 podcasts for personal and business development along with marketing, okay? And there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to help you elevate your creative brand as well. Leading off, number 1. I've talked about it plenty of times before, but the Creative Pep Talk with Andy J. Miller, aka Dr. Pizza. Man, it's not because the dude has pizza in his name or he likes pizza, which if you know me well, you know I really love pizza. I like drawing art connected to pizza, so that's just one thing that I like about this dude. But if there was ever a podcast that found me when I needed it the most, it would be this one. A couple years back, honestly, this was one of the first podcasts I downloaded, and I was not a fan of it. Back when he first started, okay, the sound quality wasn't good. He was really hard to listen to. He was rambling a lot. After starting my own podcast, I understand that it's difficult to be awesome when you're starting anything, okay? And the fact that it took me so long to even start because I was terrified of putting out something that wasn't perfect, you know, that's why I like Andy J. Miller. The dude just started. He just put it out. I'm sure he didn't really care what someone thought. Maybe he did, but he doesn't show it. Maybe he just realized this is something he needed to do on his quest, and, you know, this is something I need to do. And the way to become great over time is just starting in the first place. So I really admire him. I just started re-listening to him back in this past spring, and he absolutely blew my mind. He was adding music, his sound quality was awesome, his transitions, just his points that he would make. So not only because he loves pizza, but he has this amazing quirky sense of humor and this laid-back approach, and it really elevates his honest advice on building your creative career. Like, this dude's doing it right. He's not telling you this is the only way to do something. He's strictly telling you this is what works for him, and that's what I love about it. I don't want to be pressured into thinking that this is the only way to do things, or someone laying blanket statements of the only way to do this, or you can only achieve this, and that's why I really like it. And probably the thing that stands out most to me about Andy J. Miller is just he has this magical way of blending metaphors and storytelling, and it helps him paint a picture. It inspires action, okay? The dude is just a fantastic storyteller, something I really want to strive to be better at. And then he doesn't take himself too seriously. This approach really helps me articulate my own thoughts, and it allows me to not be so serious myself all the time, like I kind of have been over the last 2 years. It's letting me warm up and realize I can be more of myself, let my true geekiness and nerdiness and my quirks shine through, which I haven't done a great job in, and I'm working on it. So if you need a little extra creative pep in your step, dude, this podcast is for you, the Creative Pep Talk with Andy J. Miller. All right, number 2 for my podcast recommendations, the Ask Gary V Show with Gary Vaynerchuk. Well, I would love to assume you know this iconic social juggernaut that is Gary Vaynerchuk, but assuming makes an ass of you and me. And I always like saying that. I just want to warn you in advance, he uses some pretty colorful language that turns off many people. You know, I'm starting to use a little bit more language that's true to myself when I'm in the moment. But if you can sidestep his F-bombs, you know, I'm not going to say that word on my podcast, but if you can navigate through all the F-bombs that he drops or any other language, you're going to end up finding some gold in each episode. This dude seriously has some valuable knowledge. The reason I find the show so valuable for creatives is because he gives you a real-time pulse of what's going on in the world with social media and just business marketing in general. As you know, you don't live under a rock anymore, I hope, but we live in a digital age, and making sure you're getting the inside scoop of what's working, what isn't working, and, you know, what to look out, what to see what's coming in the future. That's a surefire way to keep you ahead of the creative curve, and we all need an edge. Like, I'm not out here trying to compete with you, but I'm trying to gain an edge of how I can always boost my business and elevate my creative brand. And he's also got some killer books, and I prefer audiobooks too, that I suggest checking out. And I'm going to link those up in the show notes. It's perspective-collective.com/14. And real quickly, I have a link to all of these, but the first one is Crush It. The second one is Thank You Economy. The third one is Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the fourth one is the Ask Gary V book, his latest one. All fantastic books. I love the audio versions of it. I just like the energy this dude brings. Like, I feel like I have a lot of energy. I'm an extrovert, but this dude blows me out of the water. He tells it like it is. He's not afraid to speak his mind, but they're under all this layer of, you know, bravado. The dude is really a sincere, generous person, and he actually cares about helping people like you and me get it to the next level. He's not stingy on sharing advice. He's all about teaching what he knows, and those are the kind of people I look up to. So that podcast, number 2, is the Ask Gary V Show. It's good. All right, rounding out with the third podcast I recommend is the Story Brand Podcast with Donald J. Miller. Again, this is another timely podcast that I discovered this past springtime. So I was really struggle heavily. Like, when anybody would ask me, hey, Scotty, what is it that you actually do? You know, you're not a freelancer. What is it you do? And people would ask my wife this too, and I didn't have an answer. I had no idea. I didn't know how to tell people. It was a little bit of everything. And that's when the first thing that they said in this podcast when I listened to it was like, if you struggle with telling people what you do, then this podcast is for you. And this, I swear, this thing was so timely, along with the Creative Pep Talk. These two went back to back with each other, and they really helped me out. This podcast is focused on clarifying and projecting your message in a noisy world. And knowing your message and sharing it with others more precisely is going to help you gain more traffic to your website or wherever you live. It's going to help you convert more leads, and it's going to help you make more sales for your growing brand. And now that I'm getting into more products and copywriting, this podcast is gold. So each week, Donald Miller will interview some of the top influencers across the world. I know some episodes were like Dave Ramsey, Michael Hyatt, tons of other people. It's awesome to get the insight of what it takes to be successful, and you get to see a little bit of the journey of these people that he interviews each week, and they share practical tips that you can apply immediately, not only to your work habits, but even to your website. Since I started listening, it's helped me communicate better what I do to people, because if you can't communicate clearly, you're just going to have people lost. Like, people aren't going to take you seriously. It's helped me overhaul and simplify my message on my website. It's helped me convert more leads. I've massively grown my copywriting skills. So there's writing, and then there's writing to sell, and that's what copywriting is. And it helps me understand and speak to my audience's pain points, okay? It helps me talk to you better and help you with what you need the most. I guarantee you this podcast will help you grow your brand presence and marketing skills through its weekly guided episodes. They're all kind of set up into series. So what's stopping you? If you're not listening to podcasts right now, you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry, this is a blanket statement, but you have free resources out there. And if you're really serious about pursuing your creative career and elevating it, I highly advise you start taking advantage of them right now. So if you struggle with creative confidence, there's a podcast for that. My podcast. If you want to learn more about social media marketing, there's a podcast for that. If you want to learn tactics to grow your creative business, there's a podcast for that. Whatever you want to learn, there's a podcast for it. You can consume it practically anywhere throughout your day. Like I mentioned, I fill my day with these, so no excuses. The real question is, what are you waiting for? Start listening to podcasts. Start off with the creative pep talk. If you're lacking, motivation or clarity on what you're supposed to be doing, start off with that one. I'm telling you, Dr. Pizza, that dude's got it going on. He knows how to speak to you as a creative and get you going. Then work your way out to Gary Vee, and then Story Brand. Okay, those two will really get to help you build your business quicker. And if you are a podcast junkie like I am always open to recommendations. I'm going to have I list all my podcasts and all the audiobooks that I listen to on my resources page. So that's going to be perspective-collectiveresources.com. And you can see a list of all the other podcasts and all the audiobooks I listen to. I would love to hear from you. So, shoot me an email at scotty@perspective-collective.com, or hit me up on, let's say, Instagram or Twitter. I pretty much live everywhere under this name. It's perspective_collective. There's no vowels. Just look up PRSPCTV and share with me your favorite podcast. I would love to hear what you have to say. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Wanted to keep it super quick, super punchy, right to the point. I respect your time. I should mention, okay, so I just launched my first official product, and it just came out to the people on my newsletter first. I gave them the first introductory rate pricing, so if you want to join my team, you get access to me, but you also get access to all sales, any kind of introductory promotions, anything I give out free, it always goes to my newsletter. But I'm officially launching it publicly right now. It's at weeklycontentchecklist.com. And this is a framework for helping you produce weekly content, whether it's writing for your blog post, drawing a featured image, or any kind of creation for your featured image, helping you set up a newsletter. I just want you to become consistent so you can grow your audience, build your creative brand, take everything to the next level. It's loaded with resources, all kinds of blog posts, all my drawing materials, my drawing process, my photo editing process. Heck, I even teach you how to do time-lapse videos for, your own drawings. And I even give you my own social marketing strategies, okay? It's all developed on how to build a consistent routine for you so you can start growing the audience and hopefully transition to a full-time job doing what you love the most with your creativity. That's the goal of this. So if this is interesting you, it is now on sale for $19.95. It's a downloadable product, super easy, guide you through it, weeklycontentchecklist.com. As always, I super appreciate you lending me your time and your ears. I know your time is valuable, and I'm just very grateful you spend it here with me. I want to encourage you to go out, keep creating. Only you can do your work, okay? No one is going to do it for you. You've got this.